So my question is that how would you know that Islam is the right religion? So because Christians who believe in Christianity, they would think that their religion is correct. So
a little louder, okay?
they think that their religion is correct. So what makes it so that why would you think that Islam is correct?
Why just stop at the Christians? Why not the Jewish people, the Hindus and the Buddhists? Why just the Christians? Even the atheists claim that their religion, atheism is a religion, okay? It's a psychological disorder, but still a religion. But why just the Christians?
Just a full time.
Oh, okay. First, what's your name, sorry? Mu'iz. You need to read what Christianity is all about. Okay, read it. You cannot just hear from a Christian and think what Christianity is. Read the Bible. You need to read the Bible. You need to read it. You know who told us to read the Bible? Allah in the Quran said that. That's the only book which has a challenge. If you think everything, you're right, we openly challenge you to read all and you'll find out yourself. That's the challenge in the Quran. Okay? The Bible does not have that challenge, even though the Bible is from Allah, okay? Well, most of it anyway. Okay? Well, not most of it. Most of it is from St. Paul. Okay? So, since you're only talking about Christianity, I want to just broaden the horizon. I want to talk about Jewish Old Testament. Okay? And the New Testament of the Christian. You know what that is?
Yeah.
It's called the Bible. Okay? Currently the word Bible is used for both. Okay? Because the Christians carry the Old Testament and the New Testament with it. But the Jews don't believe in the New Testament. Okay? So you need to read both of them. You're going to find out what the message there is. And then you're going to find something missing. And that's common sense. Okay, I'll tell you what common sense means. Common sense requires a book to give a vision. Vision the Bible does. Okay, Bible gives a vision. The Old Testament and the New Testament separate. They give a vision. And then a strategy, and then a maintenance plan as well, which is called the law. Okay, the New Testament does not have a law, by the way. You need to know, Christians never got their law. They take the law from the Jews. So if Christians are correct, then Jews have to be correct. Because they say that we take the law from the Jews. Okay? Isa ibn Maryam, Jesus, he himself said that I did not come to bring my own religion. I am here to follow the book which is the book of Moses, letter by letter, dot by dot. So, if Christians are correct, then Jews have to be correct. Okay, however, if Jews are correct, then Christians have to be wrong. No, you don't understand that. You have to read and you'll find out how a weird conundrum I just created. If Christians are correct, then Jews have to be correct, because they follow the Jewish book. But if Jews are correct, then Christians have to be wrong. There's a conundrum. You know what a conundrum is, right? It's a problem that creates a problem within its own self if you want to solve it. Okay? Because the Old Testament does not have Jesus. The Old Testament contests everything against whatever Christianity is teaching right now. So if St. Paul was correct, then Old Testament is wrong. But if Old Testament is correct, then everything St. Paul is teaching is wrong. Okay? So both of them cannot be correct at the same time. You need to read that. And then you read the Quran. I suggest you read the Quran first and then you go there. Then you find out that 90% of all of it is similar, except the New Testament, because Old Testament and the Quran is just about the same book. Except the Quran gives the law and the maintenance strategy. You know what that is? What is it? What? You know that? Quran actually sets up the whole plan for the Muslims. Bit by bit. Tells every Muslim that you have to be in power, you have to make sure the rule is in your hand, you have to be in politics, you have to make sure nobody else influences the tenets of Islam. How are you going to be in power, Maurice, in England? Nope, that's not power. Okay? So when you're going to read, you're going to find out, okay? Be in politics. That's power, okay? This is the only book that actually creates that, platform for power makes it mandatory for Muslims to be in power, and so on and so forth. You know what? This is too long of an answer. So what I'm saying is, once you're going to find two opposing beliefs in the Old Testament or the Quran, then you can see, okay, you know what? Either one has to be correct. But there is no opposing belief in the Torah, the book of Jews, and the book of Muslims, the Quran. There is not even a single opposing belief, verse to verse. Okay? However, the Quran has a lot more. Corpus of the Quran is way bigger than because there are only 5 books of Moses. How many books do we have? 104. Quran is 5 books of Moses also is in the Bible, right? So we have 114. They have 5. 114 surahs, huh? Yeah, they have 5. Okay, so we have a lot more and a lot more to do because there is so much commandments in the Quran. So there is nothing conflicting between the Torah and the Quran. You get it? But there is a lot of things conflicting between the Christianity and the Quran. Same things conflict with the Christianity and the Torah. So Christian cannot be right if the Old Testament holds true. Okay? So if a Christian comes to you and says, you know what, either we're right, you're right, you say, no, that's the wrong question to ask. Either you're right or your book is right, which is the Old Testament. Okay? Both cannot be right at the same time. You get it? So I'll give you a little easy for all of you kids. If you have this kind of a debate with a Christian or a Jewish man, be very easy with them. It's like, you know what, my book, if I believe in my book, I believe in all of your book. So if you're going to make it, I'm going to make it. But if I'm going to make it based on my book, both of you are not going to make it. Because you took a lot of things out of my book. Out means deleted it. In the Quran, Allah says about these 2 books that they took something and they believed in something and they chose not to believe in some certain things. Be bad. Some things from the Quran they chose not to believe in, something they chose to believe. Even though it was the same commandments all over the place. Okay? You get it? Now for Christianity, there's one last go-to, food for thought. There is a book of St. Paul. There are 14 books of St. Paul actually. In 28 books. 23, Protestants. 14 are from St. Paul. John, Matthew, Luke, Mark. Okay, they are the authors of the books of the Bible. But there is no book of Jesus. Ask them, where's the book of Jesus? I'll believe in it because I believe in Jesus. There is not a single book of Jesus in the Bible. Okay? So Jesus never wrote the Bible. People who wrote the Bible, especially St. Paul, he never even met or saw Jesus. He was born 5 years after Jesus had left the planet. Okay? So there is no book of Jesus. That's why there's a problem with the New Testament.